Have a listen to this. Have a listen to this.
Interest rates are higher. I know people don't like that, but you should be welcoming a stronger economy.
And maybe a deal has a point about the machinery of capitalism being oiled with the blood of the
The
worker.
United States is a country that has always paid all of its bills.
Lannister always pays his debts.
Don't let the bastards get you.
Hello and welcome to Comedian versus Economist. We demystify the world of money and help you get a handle on the bigger picture. My name's Adam and we're joined as always by my little older brother and real-life economist, Thomas. Hi, Thomas.
Yeah, g'day, Adam. How you going?
Doing really well, thank you. Thomas, your little poetry project that you've been talking about the last couple of weeks is finally live. I had a look today at libraryof.love. Libraryof.love. We'll put a link in the show notes as well as on our link tree, which you can find on Instagram. Nice to see it up, Thomas.
Yeah.
Kind of an advent calendar of poetry. Is that what we're looking at here?
Yeah. Taking people on a journey of poetry, looking at some lovely old poems as a way to prepare for the new year.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
I think in the past we've only ever asked people to rate and review the show. But if you like what we're doing here and you want to support Thomas, who look, it's probably no surprise to anyone, does exponentially more work for this show than I do.
That's not what exponential means.
See, it's that kind of insight that you won't get on any other show. So if you were looking for a way to support Thomas, particularly, as we're heading into Christmas and times are tough in the Kylie household, I think that would be a great way to do it. So if you like poetry, if you're looking for a gift for a loved one, for your mum or your grandma, or anyone who's a lover of linguistics, can I say that?
Yeah.
Sure, there we go.
Yeah.
Then head over to libraryof.love. But Thomas, we've got a massive show coming up as always. Could the mortgage cliff be more of a mortgage bluff? Now, Thomas, I want you to pause and just see what I did there. A bluff being like, it might not be what it seems, but a bluff also a type of cliff. So if anyone ever quotes us in the future, bang on, correct.
Wow.
I know, it's deep. Hey,
yeah.
Who says I don't bring exponentially less? WA homeowners are rushing to list their houses on Airbnb after the WA government announced they'd pay $10,000 to remove them. And DoorDash set to launch the slower, budget-friendly DoorJog service for those customers who don't want to tip. But first, Thomas, I tried to call you last Wednesday. Why you not answer my calls?
Yeah, well, yeah, that would make sense if I was on the Optus network, but I'm not.
It was all over the news last week, of course, the Optus outage. What happened?
Yeah, so Optus announced their end-of-year results on Thursday, and to celebrate, plunged the nation into chaos on Wednesday. Poor guy. Imagine having to try to get any good news stories out of your results on Thursdays. After that,
true. Yeah, people searching Optus result. Overwhelmingly negative. People are saying it's a PR disaster as much as anything. Why?
Yeah, they are.
Why are they saying it's a PR disaster?
I think because it is. It's people are furious. It has been handled pretty badly. It's hard to say anyone's saying that Optus did a good job of managing this. Well, the CEO, Kelly Bayer Rosemarin, came out and did 2 interviews with local radio. So did an interview with ABC Sydney or something, and then another one, a commercial channel in Sydney. And so it's like, why aren't you doing a press conference? Like, why? This is kind of like a national issue.
Yeah, but they couldn't dial in the other news outlets because the internet was down. So where are you going to do the press conference? What, you go do it in Sydney, and then only people in Sydney get to watch it because the Wi-Fi didn't work.
But no, you call a press conference. You're Optus. It's a national outage. It's epic. It's at the beginning of your workday. Like, call a press conference. Every channel in the country will send someone there to cover it. and you talk about it. So that's the first thing. One that was like this really narrow casting of the message. The second was then there was no explanation, and she didn't even try to give an explanation, saying it's a very technical explanation of what happened. There is no soundbite that's going to do it justice, so we're going to figure it out and get back to you. Was kind of what it was, which is also, it's like, I probably get that. Like, it's probably something so technical, like I'm going to have no idea. Still felt like people just felt people didn't give people a feeling like they had any idea what was going on.
I did hear her say that it wasn't spyware. Just she's gone with a phrase coined in about 2003 when you used to download little shareware utilities from the internet. So we often called them spyware back in the day, but I haven't heard the term spyware. Cyber attack, more of your sort of current vernacular. Said it wasn't spyware, so that was comforting to shareholders and customers alike. We've done some investigation, and it wasn't a Trojan.
She did say that, follow that up saying she got an email from McAfee saying the virus protection had expired, and they're just going to update that.
Yeah. So it's PR disaster.
Yeah. So PR disaster. Yeah. And then also it created a target that everyone jumped on board. So the government then jumped on board, and they were saying, oh yeah, people are definitely, deserve compensation for this. And that's become a story that, and
well, they're going to get it.
Well, they got 200 gig worth of data. There were a lot of small businesses.
Yeah, small businesses lost a day's worth of income, but they've got $100 worth of free data.
Free data. Yeah.
I did see too that it's opt-in. So not only people typically don't use their data allowance each month anyway, and that now even with the free data, you've still got to go and opt in for your free data. So I don't know. I encourage everyone to go and opt in, get your free data, and just stream CVE on different devices to boost our downloads. That's probably the best use of that opt-in data.
So is that where they get the name Optus from?
Optus. Well, there's a little marketing opportunity there,
right?
Optus. Opt in with Optus. So what's the government got to say about all this?
Well, that's what they're saying, that they deserve compensation. And this is the sort of thing everyone's saying, like, oh yeah, we deserve compensation and 200 gig is not enough. But it's also like, unless you've got a service level agreement, right, you're not actually entitled to compensation, I don't think. If you run a business, you have that's what a service level agreement is, isn't it? Like, it's like, if there's an outage, we get compensation.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think your average small business or your average consumer has that kind of agreement with Optus. Like, there's no, otherwise there would be a very clear, this is the compensation that they're liable for. But so that's sort of not clear. But then the government was out there saying, there's saying, yeah, people deserve money, which is a very popular message. People are like, oh yeah, the government's backing me on this. But like, is the government going to enforce that? Are they going to do anything? Like, I don't know. Like, it's not clear to me that even there's a class action that are available there.
No, it's just it's an outage. I do wonder at what point we're going to get to where internet, whatever it is a utility like water and electricity and gas.
Yes. Yeah, well, this is the thing that, so the government then announced that telecommunications is being added to the list of critical infrastructure, like hospitals and things like that. Yeah.
Fixed.
You're ahead of the curve on that one. You're ahead of the curve behind the news.
There's another tagline for our show. Okay.
Yeah, so that's being added in, and that means there'll be like fines. They're talking about fines of like $200,000 for a big outage. But it's like,
that's not much.
Yeah, it's not much, right? Like, you're weighing that up as Optus. It's like, I could buy 3 full-time IT employees maybe, or I could just let there be outages and cop a fine.
Yeah. Was that like worth about 3 terabytes of data? Yeah, it's a $200,000 outage. Do you mind if we pay it in data?
We're giving the government free data. Yeah.
Ausgov can have free data all day.
They got to opt into it though.
Okay, Thomas, the big banks reported their end-of-year results last week. How'd they go?
Yeah, it depends on how you look at it. From one perspective, from the sort of average citizen perspective, they're crushing it. NAB's profit 7.7 billion, up 9%. Westpac 7.2 billion, up 26%. ANZ 7.4 billion, up 14%. CBA was only up 5%, but they were up to 10 billion. So that's in a single year we're talking about. So it's like
multiple billions to most consumers. I feel like you'd be pretty pleased with that result. But as we've learned on this show, not always the case.
Yeah. So in that level, they're still crushing it. But second half of the financial year was slower than the first half. Margins are getting compressed. Yeah, but it's like that's sort of what you expect in a slowing economy.
Right.
There are a couple of interesting things that jumped out. The first is that ANZ reported last, and the CBA, NAB, and Westpac were before them. And the others were saying, like, we're seeing compression in our mortgage margins because one of the big four is being really aggressive and offering cheap mortgages in order to boost market share. And we weren't sure who that was until it was like ANZ were last. Like, yeah, it was us.
Like musical chairs. Surprise! It was us all along.
So ANZ's in the middle of a gamble where they're dropping their mortgage rates, which is compressing their margins on mortgages, which is like dropping their profit levels, and it was below analyst expectations. But ANZ saying like, well, bear with us, we're just trying to boost market share and see how we go. So ANZ's rolling the dice on that one.
So we don't know if it's working yet, or is that's to come?
It's boosting volumes, but whether you can then boost margins on the back of that to rebuild profitability is sort of the gamble, I guess. So like it's that they're offering discount rates in order to get people in, and then hoping that they stay once rates normalize. Seems to be the gamble that they're taking.
The old bait and switch.
Yes.
Sorry, I shouldn't say that.
So cheap mortgages are set to continue. The other interesting thing that came out of it was Westpac and NAB offered some comment on hardship and how many people were falling behind in their repayments and those sort of things. And the general story is not many. Like everyone's holding up pretty well. Yeah.
Why is that?
I guess because we haven't seen all of the rate hikes pass through. Yeah, where it is stressed is still pretty small. There's sort of a bit of people have buffers that they're sort of eating into first. Yeah. I mean, it's picking up.
Is it wages at all? Wages haven't been keeping pace with inflation we talked about, but wages have been going up to some extent. So is people just finding some extra income?
I don't think that's really it. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, and I think there's just sort of still flush, and until there's unemployment, people will sort of find a way to sort of just work around it. Yeah, but Westpac said that they've got 13,253 accounts in hardship out of a portfolio of more than 3 million. So pretty small number.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and then NAB had some interesting things to say about like the home mortgages rolling over from fixed rates. So this fixed rate mortgage cliff we've been talking about, and saying that they've been really focusing in on the 2021-2022 vintage of loans. Saying like the COVID loans between August 2019 and July 2022, there's $145 billion mortgages originated. That's 43% of the total. But we've been looking at them and saying testing that group, and they've been performing the same as any other cohort.
Right.
So
even though they borrowed at the lowest rate, and then they've been hit the hardest, presumably by the rate rises, they're dealing.
Yeah. Their arrears, percentages are the same as any other cohort. So not showing up any stress there yet.
All right, cool. Let's take a break here, grab a word from this week's sponsor, and be back with more CVE right after this. Welcome back. You're on Comedian versus Economist. Hey, have you heard the buy or sell series I'm doing over on the Equity Mates Investing podcast yet? If not, I'd love for you to go and take a listen and tell me what you think. CVE@equitymates.com. Let me know whether it's a buy or a sell for you. Thomas, WA is giving homeowners $10,000 to not list on Airbnb. That sounds like a sweet deal. What's going on?
Yeah. Oh no, this one. Oh man, yeah. So if your property is currently listed full time on Airbnb, and you put a tenant in there for 12 months, the government's going to give you $10,000.
If you put a
Just-
tenant in there for 12 months on Airbnb,
No,
right,
no.
you take it off
and
put a renter in there.
Put a renter in there for a year. You get $10,000.
Oh, I thought it was just that if you took it off, like you would get 10 grand. Like they just didn't want like the listing on there for some reason, and you just get 10 grand. I thought you'd just rip it off Airbnb and stick it up on Stays, cash in 10,000. But that's not. That makes more sense. There's some government. This isn't the COVID payment handout situation. They're putting some thought into this one.
Yeah, some.
Right.
Yeah, some thought. Yeah.
Okay, so presumably this is to deal with the rental crisis.
Yeah, this is what they're saying. Also, like a lot of the languaging seemed to be a bit of a flex. They're saying like, unlike indebted Victoria, we don't. We can offer incentives to people because
we got that mining dollars, baby.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. They got a $3.3 billion surplus for coming financial year. Is it also like, yeah, come on, you're taxing companies that dig up dirt. Like, it's not sophisticated accounting.
Yeah, still.
But also still like...
Haters going to hate.
Yeah, but like really, we're paying people who hoard homes to stop them hoarding homes. It's like... I don't know, like it's pretty icky to me.
Well, is the idea that they would have made $10,000 on Airbnb, and so the government's saying, look, we'll give you the 10K instead, and you give a renter somewhere to live.
Yeah. That's
so
that's the idea.
I mean, there's been more irresponsible spending from governments in the past.
Yeah. That's true. I mean, they've only allocated 2.7 million. It's not a huge scheme. So that's 270 houses that they're hoping to qualify.
Yeah.
You do wonder if that changes the equation for many people. Like, it'd be interesting to see how many people take that up. The Commerce Minister, Sue Ellery, saying they'll be happy if they get 50.
Right. It seems like a good deal. But maybe people don't want renters. Like, I think especially if you own a holiday house, then you don't want a permanent renter in there because you'd probably want to use the holiday house yourself. So if it's Airbnb, you kind of short-term stays, people can, you rent it out a lot of days of the year. But then if you ever want it, you've always got it there. You can't just you can't go into your tenants and go, can you guys take off for the weekend? We'd like to use the beach house.
Yeah, that happens in Byron Bay. Actually, I've got a friend who rents a place on the understanding that they'll get out for a week, go camping or something when the owners want to come and hang out there.
That's good. It doesn't get any more Byron Bay contract than that. That's brilliant.
Yeah. But this is also the grey area in all of this. Is like when people talk about this, Airbnb and stays and the short term industries. Response is always like, oh no, it's just like mum and dad's with a garage out the back that they're lending out, and and then the other people say like, yeah, no, like there's a full industry set up around permanent rentals, and like you have Airbnb management companies and all of that. These are not homes,
right?
They're not homes. They're just like small hotels.
Yeah, okay.
They're constantly available, and maybe the owners come and stay a night or two, but for all intents and purposes, they're acting like a hotel. But what we don't know and what we don't have data on is like what share that is, like how that balances out. We know some are full-time holiday rentals. We know some are homes that have a room or a garage that gets let out. But we don't know where that balance is. And so it's kind of hard to like nail the policy prescription when you don't know what actual problem you're trying to deal with.
Yeah, it's hard to, because a lot of these tech platforms, they make it kind of fun and engaging and sort of, interesting. You kind of want to get involved. So I think maybe we could change some of the language around renting and not make it renting anymore. It's a pretty old kind of boring term. If we called it if we said it was a home as a service and just made it like a subscription, like it's not renting, you subscribe to home for $400 a week, and maybe we could stand a chance of competing. All right, Thomas, finally on the show, we're looking at DoorDash in the US have a plan to boost worker wages. That sounds like good news. Finally, a positive story this week. I feel like it's been a bit doom and gloom. What's going on with DoorDash? How are they helping?
Yeah, no, they're not. They're not. This is another story that makes me angry. So now, if you order DoorDash and you enter 0 as the tip amount in the when you pay and at payment, you get a pop-up window saying orders with no tip might take longer to get delivered. Are you sure you want to continue? Orders that take longer to be accepted by Dashes tend to result in slower delivery.
So they're saying, not that the delivery will take, like the driver's going to drive slower.
Slower.
They're just going to be like, if I'm faced with a choice of this order that has a tip and this order that has no tip, then I'm going to choose the one that doesn't have a tip.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, that's what they're doing.
Do the drivers get the tips, or does the tips go into the DoorDash tip jar and then get distributed out?
Yeah, well, this is the funny thing, is that a few years ago, DoorDash just took all the tips and then just paid the drivers a flat wage.
Right.
And everyone went like, yeah, that's not actually how tips work.
But tips also don't work ahead of time either. Like normally the tip is like for services rendered, and like if you've had a pleasurable experience, and I know it's a different culture and different tipping culture in the States, but here at least you kind of go, I'm going to give that person a tip because the service I received was excellent. It's not like as you're placing your order for dinner, you're like, and why don't you put another $5 on my main?
Yeah, right. And it's also like if you're paying for it to be quicker, what happens if it's not quicker?
But you're not.
You know, like I tip 10%.
You're not paying for. It's not. They're not saying you'll get it quicker. You'll just get slower if you don't pay. You have no recourse there at all.
Yeah, scam. Yeah, this is the theory of where tips comes from as a word, right? Like it's an acronym for to ensure prompt service.
Really? That's a lie.
Yeah.
Really?
No, that's apparently I think there's cafes in India back in like 1800s used to have a little box and said to ensure prompt service.
Doesn't ensure start with an E? Ensure, like you're not.
Oh yeah.
You're not taking out coverage on the delivery of your. I would like some meal insurance, please.
Yeah, right. That's a good point. Oh yeah, Snopes has busted that theory apparently.
Oh, don't believe everything you read on the internet, Thomas. So you might be academically educated, but I'm from the streets and I can smell bullshit a mile off.
Yeah, no, good. Yeah, Snopes has busted that one. I need to update my understanding. But yeah, so I don't know. Like to me, it's like, well, this is the other thing. Like the CEO, like when he's like, okay, they reversed that after public outcry. Said, okay, we're going to make sure that the drivers themselves get the tips. And he says, we thought we were doing this is the CEO, Tony Zhu. We thought we were doing the right thing by making dashes whole when a customer left no tip. What we missed was that some customers who did tip felt like their tip didn't matter. So like it's just interesting. Like, okay, we're making dashes whole. Okay, we're making sure Dashers get enough money, the right amount of money, but we're managing the risk of not getting a tip, right? So one is unless customers tip, Dashers aren't making enough money. They're not getting paid what they're worth.
Right. Yeah, but that's standard in the States generally, isn't it? Though?
It is,
like
but it's a pretty it is. But what it does, like what a tip system does, where it does go to And maybe the intention there is right. I doubt it, but the way it works is like if you're in a tipping industry, you wear the risk of people not tipping or tips going up and down with economic conditions. You know, things get tough. Maybe people used to tip 20%, they start tipping 10%. So you push all that risk onto the workers, right? So I don't know, like the whole concept of tipping makes me pretty angry. And the other thing is like you're kind of commodifying basic human manners and consideration. You know, like I'm going to tip my waiter or my waitress because she was really nice and she smiled and she asked me how my day was. And it's like, yeah, I'm a good customer. I'm smiling and I'm I'm polite. I'm not expecting payment for that, basic human interaction.
Yeah. And I think especially, so my wife Anna works with kids with autism, and there's a growing sort of awareness around neurodiversity and stuff. And people don't necessarily want that anymore. Like, I think we're kind of... I don't think we should be rewarding necessarily as a society smiles and eye contact and things like that, because it actually makes a lot of people feel pretty uncomfortable. So there would be some people who would pay to not have that.
Right.
So let's not put a price on it.
Yeah, and that's for me. Like, I don't know if this is The Economist speaking, but like, if this is central to the business model and and there's an actual transaction there, like to ensure prompt service, you need to pay a little bit extra. Make that part of the fee, and then I know what I'm getting, and I know where I stand. And like, don't like, I feel like it's sort of like, it's just so vague, and I feel like it's a way to push the risk onto the workers, and it's kept really vague and not clear.
But it's been dragged from the dark ages of that. Like, it doesn't translate to the internet door delivery service at all. Like, it came from a face-to-face in the restaurant and service that you'd get. And, you know, we talked about having it, you know, tipping after the fact. This whole concept of tipping upfront at the point you're placing an order online through your smartphone without any interaction with anyone. Like, what are you tipping for at that stage of the transaction?
Yeah.
Like, great website, loved it. Here, have extra $3.
Yeah. What if your Dasher just drives by and throws your food in the window?
Here's your stir fry. Still, it was quick. It was fast. All right, let's leave it there. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you'll join us next time. Don't forget to check out Thomas's poetry project, libraryof.love. You'll find it on the internet. You don't even have to leave a tip. Thank you so much once again. We'll catch you next time on Comedian versus Economist. But for us, it's bye for now.
Comedian vs. Economist is a product of Equity Mates Media. All information in this podcast is for education and entertainment purposes only. It is not intended as a substitute for professional finance, legal, or tax advice. The hosts of Comedian vs. Economist are not financial professionals and are not aware of your personal financial circumstances. Before making any financial decisions, you should read the product disclosure statement and, if necessary, consult a licensed financial professional. Do not take financial advice from a podcast. For more information, head to the disclaimer page on the Equity Mates website, where you can find ASIC resources and find a registered financial professional near you. In the spirit of reconciliation, Equity Mates Media and the hosts of Comedian vs. Economist acknowledge the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and their connections to land, sea, and community. We pay our respects to their elders, past and present, and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people today.